this next one is powering the connected lab of tomorrow, focusing on how Organon, a global healthcare company dedicated to improving women's health, transformed their lab operations in just 6 months. Michaela Chapman, IT lead for Organon's Digital Lab of the Future program, and Elke Van Kamp, senior analyst and lab system configurator at Organon, will be speaking. So I'll hand it over to them.
Go on. Yep, good morning, everyone. So I'm Michaela Chapman. I come from Organon. We are a mid-size pharma manufacturing company specializing in women's health products. And today we're going to be talking about our digital lab journey.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Elke Van Kamp. I'm working for Organon as well. I'm a senior specialist quality. I've worked in the labs before, and I'm the business owner of our new Tulip system.
Go a little bit forwards. Yeah, this is us. So our agenda. So we're going to be talking about our business case, the proof of concept we went through, the minimum viable product deployment, and then our success and next steps. So we started working with Tulip approximately a year ago, almost to the day. We formally started the partnership, and that led us into the proof of concept that took us over a couple of months. That led us into our MVP this year, and then we are now actually in our deployment areas, which we'll be talking about very soon. So first off, the digital lab of the future business case. Oh, there we go.
Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the current state, or the current state as it was about 6 months ago and still is for some methods at the moment. So you can see on the screen, we did some thorough investigation of our current state and of the waste and what we wanted to go to. So you have a diagram, which in the middle you can see our lab analysts. We have sample receipts in the lab. We have sample analysis, second person review, and release. There's a lot of processes going around to make that happen. So we have our inventory management system, calibration and maintenance of all the lab equipment, instruments, lab equipment that we have to use, data analytics. We want to go to digital lab records, but we had paper records, so paper sheets where we put all the information on. And we have our LIMS system, so it's a laboratory information management system that captures all the results and creates certificates for our customers out of it. We have a QMS system with all our procedures and SOPs. We have logbooks in the labs, forms, so a lot of paper documentation around it. And all the red crosses on the diagram is where we identified there's waste and there's improvements to be made to our paper processes going to a digital process. We also have a PSQDC process. I'm not sure if maybe some of you are familiar with that terminology. So people, all our lab analysts have to write down everything manually on the paper sheets. It's quite complex. It requires a second person to check if it's correct. We have delivery every time the flow is interrupted because someone needs to review it. That takes time. We have safety information. It's across multiple documents. We have quality. Of course, if you do everything on paper, there's a possibility that someone makes an error. Can be something small like a typo, but it has a big influence. And then costs, of course, inefficiencies, that's clear for everyone, leads to higher costs. Thank you. So we made that into a process flow diagram, and this is a standard flow of a lab. You have to create lots in our ERP system. It's received in the LIMS system. The first analyst receives the sample, stores the sample data. Then there's a record data on paper, but he has to prepare reagents, prepare standards, have to set up his equipment, needs to run the samples. Then there's calculations afterwards, usually. And all these steps need second-person review and data capture of everything that's been performed in the lab. We have to print lab records, and of course we have to reconcile them as we're in a quality environment. That takes a lot of work as well. And then after second-person review, the results are posted and received in LIMS and the ERP, and the batches are ready for release by RQP. So that gives an overview of the quite complex processes of the lab. Good. Yeah. Then we go to our business case. We want to deliver impactful medicines and solutions for a healthier everyday. That's the general Organon business case. And we want to do that with our digital lab of the future. It's what's the program called within Organon. Our equipment and processes, we want to have them digitally connected. Means no transcription of data between systems. Data-driven, so it enables us to make decisions faster and focus highly on the user-friendliness of the system. It's the end user who has to work with it, so it should be user-friendly for them. So we want to enhance the user experience, deliver productivity, align with industry trends and digitalization, and continuously improve the performance of our processes. And,
So this is our future state. So back in November, we completed our vendor selection process and chose Tulip as our partners. And we came up with these goals. So reduce manual entry, including calculations developed for result evaluation. So analysts today, they're always manually transcribing from system to system, result here, result there. We want to remove that. The analysts shouldn't be spending time doing that. No paper forms and logbooks for methods, lab equipment verification, reagents, and other lab materials. Again, reduce paper. If we're using a system, there should be a way to log the use of that system, what that activity was, and automate that process. Drastic reduction in processing timelines. So if we can remove all of this transcription, automate the logging processes, that increases our productivity and decreases our costs of our labs. Improved data integrity and GMP compliance through enforced workflows, automated reviews, and access to the data for GMP approval. So like we mentioned, human error is always possible. So if we can make sure that the analysts can only do what they're supposed to do, they can only follow the steps that they're supposed to, and the data is all validated, that's going to improve our regulatory perception. And seamless integration through middleware for all lab systems for a simplified and automated data flow. So that links very much to our first point around the reduced manual entry. We want all of our systems to be connected. So Tulip can receive the samples from LIMS. They can pass on the data the requests to the different lab instrument applications, receive that data, and pass that back to LIMS. So we needed a lot of manpower for this project, so I wanted to mention Cognizant, our integration partners. So we have this team of app builders, we have a delivery manager, solution architect, validation team, and business analysts. These all work very closely with our Organon team. So within Organon as well, we have our business team, handled by Elke. We've got the technical team, our business technology team, and also our quality and compliance team as well. So now the proof of concept. So between November and January, we had to make sure that what we were doing with Tulip was actually going to work for the lab. So we set ourselves a success criteria that we would measure against at the end of the POC. So first of all, we needed to establish our partnership with Tulip, Cognizant, and our middleware vendor, make sure we can all work together well. Eliminate the manual transcription between LIMS, instrument systems, and the DLR. So the architecture I mentioned before, we needed to show that that was possible and feasible. Prove the overall architecture is feasible. So we work in a very heavily regulated industry. We are GMP. There's a lot of security policies, all kinds of things like that we had to make sure this would fit with. Achieve review by exception for steps of a method. So maybe something we didn't talk about too much in the previous slides. We want to move from the second-person review process to review by exception. So where the system is checking all of the steps were executed correctly, the second analyst doesn't need to do that. And the second analyst is only checking those exceptions where something went wrong, something wasn't as planned, and can approve or investigate that process further. We chose 2 methods for our POC, so the moisture and the HPLC assay method, so representing maybe a more simple method and a more complex method to stress test the systems. We needed to show improved user experience, so we want to show that the users are actually going to like it. Ensure a cost-effective and scalable solution. This can't be so expensive that it removes all of our savings, so we needed to make sure that this would fit. And also identify future capabilities for the future roadmap. So I know that using Tulip for labs is quite new. So we also want to be able to see what the other use cases are. There's a lot of manufacturing use cases. There's plenty of other areas in the quality organization, so we want to know what's possible there too. So in the POC, we developed 4 method-specific apps, 2 assay and 2 moisture KF apps, and 5 reusable and common apps. So we'll go into this very soon, but these apps all link together to create an end-to-end method. And also 4 dashboard applications that track the various processes seen in the reusable and the common apps, and the method apps as well. I'll hand over to Elke to explain the process.
So this is a diagram for our moisture method specific. So you can see we have different apps. So we have the green apps on the screen, which are our common apps. We have an app for purchased reagents. They are entered into the system, so you can scan them, actually. We have in-house solutions required, so the solutions that are prepared by the analysts and that can be used in multiple methods in a separate one. And we have equipment that's maintained in an equipment management app. It's for calibration, verification. Also, sometimes cleaning activities are documented in it. Then we have the dark blue line is the common apps, and they are all linked together in a specific order to work as a method. So we have a generate experiment app. It's always the first app we use. It generates a unique experiment ID. And that's for every method the same, so it's reusable. It's a bit like Lego bricks that you put behind each other, link it in the correct order, and you can build your method that way. We have standard prep app, equipment setup, to set up, in this case, it's a balance, the first one. Reagent selection, all the reagents from the green apps, they are there. So the analyst picks the bottle, he has a label on it that's printed in our green apps, and he can just scan it, and then the lot numbers and the expiry dates are all captured into the system. We have, another time we go to equipment setup, so it's the same app, but this time it's for the coulometer, which we need to measure moisture analysis. Sample prep, something we always do. Then we need a balance again to weigh samples, and we need to run samples again on the coulometer, so it's an end-to-end process there. And then you can see the light blue lines, and that's where we have our connections established. So we have a connection with LIMS, so Tulip can read our LIMS database, and we can select the samples directly from there. And of course, at the end of the method, the results go back to LIMS automatically as well. And then the long blue line is our middleware platform, and that platform is connected with all the lab equipment. So with all the balances, HPLCs, coulometers, every equipment that is used. And from that platform, we instruct the balances, so all the lot numbers of the batches that we are testing is displayed automatically on the balance, so you don't have to type anything in anymore. Results are sent back automatically to Tulip. The same for the moisture. You just have to open a template, and all your information is there. Nothing needs to be transcribed by the analyst, which gains us a lot of efficiency in transcribing and entering numbers, which are, everyone makes a typo sometimes. So that's basically how we set up our methods, and we have two now, this moisture method and also an HPLC method, which is a bit more complex, especially the data behind it coming from an HPLC is much larger than the result that we have from a moisture method. So there we go directly from our middleware platform with results into LIMS as well and to Tulip. Go to the next one. So we have defined the successes from our POC. We have multiple labs designed to digitalize the lab processes. So we have one method, but as you saw on the screen, it's already a lot of apps that we can reuse for future methods coming up there to link them right after each other. So we have 2 methods in Tulip at the moment and multiple supporting apps and dashboards that can digitalize our processes. We have digital connections between Tulip and the LIMS system. We have connections between Tulip and our lab instruments, between a middleware partner. Yeah, we have defined the use cases for the future, of course. And we have a first draft of the review by exception process, what Michaela explained. So the apps check every specification intermediate and allow you to continue or not. We raise an exception and redo the step previously if your weight, for example, is out of the specification ranges.
So next up, our minimal viable product. Oh, yeah, sorry, we got mixed up there.
So MVP, not sure if you're familiar with it. So an MVP, minimal viable product, is what we defined. It's the first app that we can use in a production environment. It has everything to make it work, but it's not perfect. Means we will improve in the future, make improvements to it based on the user feedback that we receive, based on everything we get. We have approved new business processes. We execute the whole flow in Tulip. And post-go live, we measured the reduction in execution and review hands-on time for lab analysis. So we measured the hands-on time, and we had a reduction of 20% hands-on time for the moisture method, which is quite a lot. And then we also did a survey afterwards to define our user experience and to see how the users work with the system, what we can improve, what is good, and if it improves their day-to-day work. And then the successes, I already told you. We have a fully digitized method in execution. We measured hands-on time to perform the method, and it's 20% efficiency in method execution. We have a lot of supporting processing apps that we are ready for new methods to come that we can integrate with and that we can reuse. We have an enhanced user friendliness. We had very positive feedback from all the lab analysts. They like the system. It's really easy to use. And of course, they don't have to transcribe any data anymore. And it's a self-guiding system, so it's quite limited training. So the Tulip app guides you through the complete process. It tells you exactly what to do. So very limited training required to use it.
Yep, so this wasn't without its challenges, which we wanted to talk about as well. So first off, the instrument and the LIMS integrations. So you can imagine those are two, there are many different systems, all with that can come with complex configurations, and we had to understand exactly what data is needed from each of those systems, how to push those requests to those different systems and be able to retrieve what we needed afterwards. That was a mammoth task to get set up. We've learned a lot in the process, and we know that we've got more learnings to come as we go to the future sites. Creating a standardized process for method execution. So today, if you think the labs are using paper documents, they're writing things down, or they may be following a template. You can't just put that in a system and it's going to work as expected. Sometimes things are done in different orders. You want to be able to come out and do something separately, come back in and continue an experiment. So we had to consider that whole process flow that Elke explained before and how that would work and come up with a way that was going to work across the various methods that we have as well. Validation for GXP use. As you can imagine, that is no easy thing to do. However, we do have a great team with Cognizant and with our own quality team coming up with pragmatic risk-based approaches to test and validate these apps. App deployment. So as you saw, we've got multiple processes involved. Sometimes some processes can be updated independently of the others. So we're finding some challenges around there, but we're working through that. The audit trail, so using this review by exception process and being able to review exactly what was done. We have some limitations around how this looks. It's maybe not the prettiest, but we can see everything that we need to, but that's something that we want to improve on. And scaling up. So methods are not the same. So we have KF and HPLC methods are very different. We have many other methods across all of our different sites. They are executed in different ways. So we have a huge task ahead of us of standardizing those processes before putting them into this system, and also scaling that up across our different products. And these are some screenshots of what we have developed, just to give you guys a little bit more context. So at the top here, you can see part of the experiment. So you see some of the instructions that the user has to follow. You can see there on the right where the data has landed. They can see the results and check that it's as expected. On the left here, forgive me, I haven't got my glasses on. Yep, you've got more sample preparation steps here. So what we incorporate within these various apps is what has to be documented, what the specific details around that. So sometimes you'll see boxes there on if you had to tick a box, acknowledge something, or maybe sign to say that you've done something. And on the bottom right there, you've got our list of the different tasks that have come from the different systems. So I think that's part of our audit trail review. So success and next steps. So we built our foundational processes within Tulip, and we're incorporating improvements with every release. The first method, the KF Moisture, is in production now. I should have said before, that was released in June. Our second method is going live imminently, hopefully within the next 24 hours, actually. And we are rapidly scaling up our methods to our European sites between 2025 and 26. And that's bang on time, just about. Yeah. So anybody, any questions?
Hi, good morning. Well done, thank you. Dashboards, who are consuming the dashboards? What do you display? Is it to show real-time data? Just curious about the dashboard apps.
So currently we have 4 dashboard apps, 4 main dashboard apps, one for the experiments. So you can find an existing experiment, you can find the status of the experiment in the dashboard, and if it's completed, you can find the complete record there, the audit trail of everything that is performed. We have one for materials. So that's the solutions I was talking before about that are created. You can see if it's within expiry, if it's expired or about to expire. It gets color labels as well. So we have red if it's expired, orange about to expire, and green if it's valid for use. And then we have the material dashboard. It's a bit the same, but then for the equipment. So if it's calibrated in the correct state, if it's verified or cleaned, if it can be used or not. The system prevents you also from using something that's expired or calibrated, so you cannot do that. And then I have to think about the fourth one, which is actually to track table updates. So if we enter equipment, we have a master data table with all our equipment. So if someone adds new equipment, because it's a process that's done frequently in the labs, it's visible on that dashboard, and you have a complete audit trail of that processes as well.
Thank you so much. Question for, in terms of engagement with the regulatory, right? So can you share anything about how you brought them along, if you needed to, and what types of conversations you may have had with them regarding implementing this digitized lab solution?
Yeah. So we have our quality team is involved from the start. So they have seen the application, they have reviewed all the documentation from our vendors. They know it's there. We also reached out to our data integrity specialists. Everything was discussed upfront with them, what's possible on the review by exception, what's not possible, what we should look after, what's okay, what still needs review. So they are closely involved from the start, and even now for every new method, sometimes we consult them to ask what can we do, what can't we do. So they are.
Hi, thank you. I'm really curious to know how far you can kind of take kind of a replatforming question around LIMS. I'm really curious because you've done a great job augmenting what your operators are doing in the lab and how they're working on things, but you're still connecting back to kind of a traditional legacy system where obviously I can see where it was bringing in a lot of your sample IDs, and I'm sure that's coordinated with your ERP and sample plans. I'm kind of curious what the before and after is like with your LIMS system and how far you're pushing in Tulip capability into what would traditionally be put into your LIMS system, and if there's opportunity to continue to grow.
Yeah. At the moment, our LIMS system contains only results. Well, at test site, I know that's different in some other sites, so we have some standardization ahead of us. So we want to keep it only as a result platform, so there's no calculations, no, it's just end results and certificates. And yeah, we're still investigating what the future might bring there. There might be opportunities to improve there as well. Yeah, definitely a good point, yeah.
Hello. I know that I'm not a lab expert, but like in general, lab people are known for their love of Excel and how they connect with Excel and how they do everything in Excel. So is the transition from Excel to Tulip something that you're working on as like an app or not?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know about the high site.
Yeah.
I am happy to say there's not too much Excel in our labs. So there's not much of a transition. There is we have validated spreadsheets that might be in use, but I would say they are very limited across most of our sites, but I know you can speak for Heist.
Yeah, no, it's the same. We have some validated Excel sheets still in place, which we are trying to get rid of as fast as possible. So most of the calculations are put in the source system. So if our lab equipment is connected to a software that allows us to do calculations already, it's in there. If it's not, we're bringing them over to Tulip to do the calculations and to remove all these validated Excel sheets.
Thank you. With respect to the KF moisture and the HPLC, as going through this entire process, have other use cases come up, or are scientists like become more curious, or what do you see as basically beyond these use cases the future of Tulip applications, if any?
You want or?
You go ahead, you're the user.
So we have now one method live, one method going live this week. Our lab is divided in different lab modules based on the product they're testing. So we have oral solid dosages, we have sterile product liquids, a lot of different type of activities. The lab that's currently live is the Atozet lab, which is a solid dosage lab. They are very excited. So that helps on the change curve that they are talking to the other modules, showing what they have, how great this. So we get questions like, oh, this is looking good. When are we coming up? When is our method built in Tulip? And also from other areas, we receive a lot of informational questions like, hey, we have logbooks too. How do you do it? Can we use it in the production environment? Can we use it for forms? Can we use it for a lot of other activities? So you can feel that the interest is starting to grow everywhere in the company, and everyone started to think on improvements, and they heard about it, and they're asking, can we use it as well? So there's a lot of work ahead of us, but we have to put everything in order, and we cannot do everything at the same time. So,
It's just about speed, right? Like, do your analysts, or is there any feedback in terms of like how fast or how slow it is compared to, well, they were doing paper before, but in terms of all the interfacing that's happening, is the app fast? Or like, does it take a minute to load and poor connection? Like, does that type of stuff happen?
Yeah, so we have some latency, but that's less linked to Tulip and more our middleware vendor, but we do have small latency in some of the data transfer activities. I think Tulip overall is relatively fast, so I don't think we have any issues there. But we mentioned there is a 20% efficiency across the end-to-end process, so it's definitely faster than it was before.
yeah, indeed. And there's improvement on the latency. It's coming up. But we ordered the steps that way that if you have to can send your information to the balance, then you can pick up all your glassware, everything you need, get it ready, clean it, and by the time you have that set up, your task arrived and you can continue. So that's not, they don't have to sit and wait for 2 minutes to get it arrived. Yes.
Thank you both. Please join me in giving them a round of applause.